High in the Northern Pennines, located in northern England, the moors stretch endlessly in every direction. A vast expanse of peat, grass, hills and valleys, shaped by centuries of wind and erosion. The terrain is raw, exposed and remote. Every step across the boggy ground is a negotiation with the weather, the land and the seasons. Life here has always demanded endurance, patience and respect for forces far larger than any human plan. For generations, men and women across the British Isles made their lives in this unforgiving place, enduring storms, darkness and a landscape that does not forgive mistakes. To the casual traveller, these moors may seem empty, bleak even, but look closely and the signs of human activity emerge. Worn tracks, scattered stones, crumbling structures, and quiet reservoirs. Subtle echoes of people who once laboured across this harsh land. Hidden here, tucked away on this remote moorland, lies a little-known industrial site. It demanded fire, water, coal and iron, and the endurance of men and women who never expected comfort. It was a place that should never have worked, and yet, for a brief moment in history, it did. For decades, men laboured here, facing storms, darkness and the constant threat of disaster. What they built was extraordinary, and yet now it lies in ruin. What was it? How did they make it work? Why is this site unique in the Pennines? And why does its presence still matter today? This is Rails and Revolutions. The history that built us, the forces that shaped us. The story of industry here stretches back centuries. Long before the 19th century workings that we can still trace today, these moors had already been prospected for lead. In the 18th and 19th centuries, lead was one of Britain's most vital industrial materials. It lined water pipes and roofs in expanding towns and cities, sealed joints in buildings, weighted glass, and fed the constant demand for shot and ammunition. Its usefulness was everywhere, but its origins were hidden in places like this, remote, exposed, and unforgiving, where lead had to be torn from rock with persistence and great risk. Every piece of metal that left these moors carried the stories of men who risked their lives underground to supply an expanding nation. By 1700, the veins containing lead were already known, and by 1713, a smelting mill stood at the valley's base, suggesting significant early output. Initially, workings were scattered along the line of the veins, long before the deep shafts and pumping engines arrived. Each small pit, each rough shaft represents generations of miners testing their ground, guided by experience, risk and hope. These men laid the foundations for the site we now call Sikehead. And though their traces have mostly vanished, the moor still remembers them. Walking across the moor, The winter wind bites at my skin. In the distance, the first signs of human endeavour appear. Stone flues climb the hillside, leading to a tall stone chimney. These don't belong to the mine we're here to explore. They carried heat and gases from the Ramshore smelting mill far below. Of course, these flues come with their own tragic stories, one of which I've made a video about before, and I've linked that in the video description if you want to explore it further. These are reminders of the wider industrial network that once threaded this landscape, evidence of ambition pushing men to harness fire and water in such remote places. Nearby, the remnants of two dams catch the eye. One still holding water. At the far end of this structure stands the chimney seen earlier that the flues ultimately led to. The reservoir here once fed a water wheel that powered winding and pumping gear for another mine in the valley below, demonstrating the ingenuity of early engineers. Even before steam, these moors relied on a careful choreography of natural energy. Water, gravity, and human labour combined into a fragile humming system. Every drop mattered. Every rotation counted, because the mine's survival depended on motion never stopping. Passing the dam, we reach the head of a small side valley, where Sikehead's main workings appear. Here, the capped top of Ellen Shaft marks where the men lowered themselves into the earth. Climbing ladders, or using the rusted winch that stands beside it. The shaft was lined with stone and timber to protect miners from collapse, a constant reminder that danger was never far below. Allen's shaft reached the 80-fathom level, the base of the Great Limestone, though much of the early mining focused around the 50-fathom level. A short level near the top allowed kibbles to be emptied into underground wagons, connecting to a dressing floor below. Descending, the darkness would have been absolute, the hiss of water and wet stone filling every breath. A constant reminder that every misstep could be fatal. Next to Allen lies the collapsed remains of Roof Shaft, once the pumping shaft keeping the mine free of water. A 48-foot diameter water wheel 1,600 yards away in the valley below drove an extraordinary system of flat rods to operate these pumps. But much of the system was exposed to rain, wind and frost. Men laboured constantly to repair and adjust them, knowing that a snap rod could flood the mine and halt all progress. Sikehead's development was shaped by Cornish engineers bringing experience from the water challenge mines of southwest England. They designed the site with remarkable compactness. Shafts, pumps, water wheels, dressing floors and coal storage tightly clustered. This layout was unusual in Northern Pennines, where most mines sprawled across valleys. At Sikehead, every component was within reach, every workflow optimised, every piece of machinery serving multiple roles. It's a rare example of Cornish precision applied to a northern landscape, a compact industrial choreography etched in stone. The men who worked here did not all come from one place. Many were local, drawn from farming families along the moorland edges and valleys, where mining supplemented uncertain agricultural incomes. Skills passed quietly through families and familiarity with harsh weather translated into underground endurance. Others arrived from further afield. Cornish influence extended beyond engineering drawings, shaping working practices and problem solving underground. Alongside them were immigrant labourers, particularly Irish workers, drawn north by 19th century demand. Some had experience on railways or canals. Others came seeking stability. Mining offered harsh conditions, but also wages where few alternatives existed. Together, local Cornish and Irish miners formed a workforce bound less by origin than by necessity and cooperation. In the earliest years, power came not from steam, but from water wheels, such as the one that would lived here. And the flat rod system driving roof shaft. Every storm, freeze and snapped rod could stop the mine. Imagine men climbing over frost-slick beams, tools in hand, repairing a rod, stretching hundreds of yards. A single failure could flood the mine. Everything changed when steam arrived, not as an abstract idea, but as a physical, fuel-hungry machine planted in the landscape. Around 1862, a branch railway reached the moor, bringing coal to feed a 40-inch Cornish pumping engine at roof shaft. Depth became manageable for the first time because power could finally be delivered reliably. The engine house and associated chimney, now ruins. Stand as sentinels to human ingenuity imposed on a hostile place. Beyond the engine house and coal store, the site of the manual capstan reminds us that even in the age of steam, human muscle remained essential. The compact layout of this site meant men and machines had to coexist in harmony. Each step choreographed to keep the mine alive. Walking among these ore tips, the one place where railway tracks still exist, we peer into the mine level that once ran to Allen Shaft. We wonder what stories this level could speak of the miners, their tales, their joys, their fears, their hardships. Nearby, the Cornish-influenced dressing floor and hopper, designed for efficiency in a compact space, remain unique in this part of England. In this valley, the landscape falls away sharply, and with it, another crucial part of Sikehead's story appears. To move ore and materials off this exposed moor, engineers constructed a steep, rope-worked tramway incline down into the valley at white heaps. Loaded wagons descending under gravity hauled empty ones back up, weight becoming power. Later, a steam-powered winch controlled the descent, lowering wagons into and out of the valley. Every movement depended on ropes, brakes and judgment. Failure here could be sudden and unforgiving. Watching the system in your mind, it's easy to feel the tension, imagining men controlling the ropes as carts slip past. Lead extraction here required immense effort, pulling ore from 50 to 80 fathoms, raising it, crushing it, dressing it, and lowering it carefully down the incline to the smelters. Every storm, every mechanical failure threatened progress. Men laboured daily in winter cold or summer heat, their lives entwined with every motion of rods, wheels, engines and ropes. Yet, despite harsh conditions, the mine achieved remarkable efficiency, a testament to both the courage of the workforce and the skill of the Cornish engineers who laid it out. When the mine finally fell silent, it wasn't a single failure that ended it. The industry itself was reaching limits. Easily worked veins were exhausted. Deeper mining demanded ever more pumping, fuel and maintenance, and the price of lead was falling due to imports and changing industrial processes. Investors moved on, engines stopped, coal deliveries ceased, and the carefully balanced systems of the moorland mines quietly failed. Local miners often returned to farming, quarrying or labouring in the valleys, or followed work to other mines in the Pennines. Immigrant workers, particularly Irish workers without ties, faced abrupt displacement. Some moved to railway construction or urban industry elsewhere, while others left the region entirely. Closure didn't just silence the mine, it scattered a community. Lives shaped by Sikehead's rhythms dispersed across the country. What remains is absence. Shafts flooded, machinery decayed, and the carefully balanced system unravelled. No monuments marked the end, no records of departure. The moor simply reclaimed the space, and the people who once animated it slipped back into history. Today, Sikehead remains protected and listed, but fragile. Stone softens, water returns, and silence settles where machinery once roared. Sikehead matters, not because it was large, rich, or long-lived, but because it shows the fragility and brilliance of human ingenuity. It reveals how people from different places came together, how industry reached even the most remote landscapes, and how, when it withdrew, it left behind only traces. This was not the heart of the Industrial Revolution. It was one of its outposts. And when outposts fall, history doesn't shout, it whispers.